Welcome back to Saltwater Stories. Today, we're hanging out with pelicans. You know, those birds with the giant pouches.
Yeah, there's patches.
But there's so much more to pelicans than meets the eye.
That's for sure. One of the things that always fascinates me is how intelligent they are. Like, they actually problem solve, they learn, they remember things.
Wait, seriously, how can we tell a bird is, like, actually thinking?
Well, think about it. So many pelicans migrate. They're going, what, thousands of miles every year?
Yeah.
And they come back to the same spots to nest and find food. That takes some serious brain power, right? And they're using the sun and the stars, even the Earth's magnetic field to find their way.
Whoa, so it's like they have a built-in GPS.
It is. But it's more than just instinct. They're actually remembering those specific places.
That is so cool.
It is cool. And, it's not just about remembering where to go. Pelicans are super adaptable. So if their environment changes, they can change what they eat, how they hunt, even learn to use new food sources.
Yeah, like one of the articles said, some pelicans will, like, hang out near fishing docks and figure out when the fishermen are bringing in their nets.
Exactly.
Pretty clever, right?
It is. It really shows they can learn from watching us, which suggests a level of intelligence we don't always see in birds.
Yeah, and I never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
So I guess even though they might look a little silly waddling around on land, they're actually, like, super geniuses when it comes to survival.
Absolutely. And their social interactions are another example of that intelligence. They live in those big groups, we call them colonies,
Right.
sometimes hundreds of birds, and they communicate using all sorts of different sounds.
Oh, yeah, the articles talked about how they have specific calls to warn each other about danger. It's like their own language.
It is. It's their own language.
Yeah.
They use these calls to coordinate hunting, warn each other about predators, even recognize individual birds within their colony.
Wow, those pelican brains are busy. Okay, but let's talk about what everyone knows them for, those amazing pouches. How much can they fit in there?
Okay, so a pelican's pouch can hold up to 3 gallons of water.
3 gallons. That's like 12 of those big milk chugs. Can you imagine walking around with that much water just like hanging under your chin?
Ha ha ha, no. And the pouch isn't just for holding things. It's actually a crucial part of their fishing technique.
Oh, right.
So they dunk their beaks in the water, scoop up the fish in water, then drain the water out before swallowing their catch.
That's incredible. Speaking of fishing, the research we did talked about all sorts of ways they catch fish. Like some pelicans even dive bomb into the water to catch fish. Could you imagine seeing that up close? A huge pelican just dropping from the sky like a giant feathered torpedo.
It is an amazing sight. And, it's completely different from the cooperative fishing we were just talking about.
Right.
Some pelicans actually work as a team, herding fish into shallow areas where they're easier to catch. They'll even use their wings to make a wall to trap the fish.
Whoa, it's like a giant feathery fishing net.
It is.
So they're not just smart, they're like team players too.
They are. And that teamwork extends beyond fishing. They also cooperate when it comes to raising their young.
How so?
Well, they often share nesting duties, with multiple adult pelicans helping to protect the nests and care for the chicks.
Makes sense, especially since they live in those huge colonies. It really does take a village, I guess, to raise a pelican chick.
It does. And just like they have those calls for different things, their body language is part of their communication too. So think about how they puff up their chests or they shake their heads. That's all about, maybe showing who's boss or signaling to other birds what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Okay, I'm seriously impressed. Pelicans are so much more complex than I realized.
Yeah.
But with all this intelligence and social stuff, how do they do it? Like, what's going on in those pelican brains?
Well, that's where it gets really fascinating. So pelicans have special parts of their brains dedicated to processing what they see, coordinating their movements, even learning new things. These areas are more developed than in many other bird species.
So it's not just that they have, like, big brains. Their brains are actually wired for smarts and social interaction.
You got it. Their brain structure, combined with the fact that they live in these dynamic social environments, that's what shapes their behavior and helps them thrive in so many different habitats.
That is so cool. But it also makes me kind of worried. We've talked about things like pollution and habitat loss that are hurting pelicans. Is there intelligence enough to help them survive these challenges?
Yeah, that's a really important question. And honestly, it's tough to say for sure. I mean, they are incredibly adaptable.
Right.
But the world is changing very quickly because of, things we humans are doing.
It is scary to think about. We've seen how pollution, losing their homes, and even oil spills can really hurt pelicans. And now climate change is making things even harder.
Yeah, and remember, pelicans are migratory birds, so they're traveling, thousands of miles each year. That means they need healthy habitats along their entire route, not just in one spot.
And their routes are changing because the climate is changing, right? Like some areas might become too hot or too dry, while others could have more storms or flooding.
Exactly. Pelicans are already adjusting to those changes. But whether they can adapt fast enough, that's the big question. Their flexibility and intelligence definitely give them a chance, but they're going to need our help to make sure they have a future.
So what can we do? The articles mention things like protecting their habitats, reducing pollution, and also supporting organizations that rescue and care for pelicans that have been hurt. But is that enough?
Well, it's a great start, but I think we need to think even bigger. We need to tackle the root causes of environmental problems like climate change and unsustainable fishing. And we need to teach people about why pelicans are important.
Right.
What role they play in the ecosystem.
Totally. Pelicans are way more than just funny-looking birds.
Yeah, exactly.
They're these amazing, intelligent creatures, and they're vital to our coastal environments. We have to do everything we can to make sure they stick around.
I agree. Their story is a perfect example of how protecting pelicans isn't just about saving one species. It's about protecting the health of our oceans and making sure we all have a healthy future.
Well said. Now, get this. Pelicans have been around for millions of years.
It's true. Fossil evidence tells us at least 30 million years. I mean, they were around when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Wow, that is incredible. Do those ancient pelicans look anything like the ones we see today?
Believe it or not, yes. A lot of the same features as modern pelicans. Big bills, throat pouches, webbed feet. We can tell from fossil remains.
Wow, so their design has been working for millions of years.
You could say that, but that doesn't mean they haven't changed. Fossil evidence also shows us that different pelican species evolved to live in different habitats and eat different things.
Yeah, one of the articles mentioned extinct pelican species with like different beak shapes and sizes.
Oh.
Makes you wonder what they ate and how they hunted.
It's a fascinating area of research. Scientists are constantly learning more about how pelicans evolved, and interacted with their ancient environments.
It's amazing to think about these birds soaring over prehistoric landscapes.
Right.
Gives you a whole new perspective on how long life has existed on Earth.
It does, and it shows just how important it is to protect these incredible creatures and their evolutionary legacy. They've survived for millions of years, facing all sorts of environmental changes. We need to make sure they continue to thrive for millions more.
Well said. Now, let's get specific and learn about the different types of pelicans found around the world. Did you know that there are 8 distinct species of pelicans?
Yeah, that's right. And each species has its own, unique characteristics, ways of adapting, and places where they live.
Let's start with the one we see a lot here in North America, the American white pelican. They're absolutely beautiful, those bright white feathers and those huge wings.
They are impressive. One of the largest birds in North America. Their wingspan can reach up to 9 feet, and those black feathers on the edge of their wings, that makes a beautiful contrast against the white when they're flying.
It does.
Yeah.
One of the articles described their breeding behavior, and it sounds pretty wild. During mating season, they get this bright yellow crest on their heads and a temporary horn on their upper bill.
I know, right? It's all about finding a mate. Those bright colors and unique features, it's their way of showing potential partners that they're healthy and ready to breed. And their courtship displays are pretty cool, too.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
So they'll gather in groups and do these synchronized movements like bobbing their heads and clapping their bills. It's like a pelican dance party.
I love it. And their social behavior is really important for how they get their food right.
It is. So unlike some other pelicans that, dive for fish, American white pelicans usually work together, herding fish into shallow water where they can scoop them up with their pouches.
Yeah. It's amazing to watch them work as a team. They'll get in a line and slowly swim towards the fish, and they use their wings to create this wall that traps the fish.
It is. It's a super effective strategy, and it really shows just how smart and social these birds are.
Now let's talk about another pelican that's famous for its fishing, the brown pelican. These guys are like the champions of dive bombing.
They are. Round pelicans are the only pelicans that regularly dive headfirst into the water to catch fish. So they'll fly high above the water, spot a group of fish, and then boom, they dive straight down with amazing accuracy.
I read they can dive from as high as 60 feet. It's like watching a feathered missile hitting the water.
Yeah, and they almost always hit their target. Right before they hit the water, they open their pouches wide, creating a net to scoop up the fish.
Yeah.
It's really an incredible combination of flying skills and hunting instincts.
Incredible. But brown pelicans have faced some serious problems. The articles mentioned that their populations really struggled back in the mid-1900s because of a pesticide called DDT.
Yeah, that's right. DDT caused their eggshells to become thin and break easily, which meant fewer chicks were surviving. Luckily, they've made a big comeback since DDT was banned and conservation efforts started.
Wow, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's proof that we can make a difference when we work to protect these amazing birds.
Definitely. But, it also reminds us that we need to be careful and protect pelicans from these kinds of threats in the future.
Right. Now, let's head across the world to Africa, southeastern Europe, and parts of Asia to meet the great white pelican. These birds are massive, with wingspans that could probably rival some small airplanes.
Yeah, they're like the giants of the pelican world. Great white pelicans can weigh up to 33 pounds
Wow.
and have wingspans that get close to 12 feet. They're truly awe-inspiring when they soar through the air.
And their feathers are beautiful. They have bright white feathers with a little bit of a pink tint that gets even more noticeable during breeding season.
That's right. And they have those distinct yellow-orange bills and a bright pink pouch that really stands out against their white feathers. Stunning. Like the American white pelican, great white pelicans are also known for working together to catch fish, right?
They are. They often form large groups and circle fish in shallow water, making them easier to catch.
So smart.
They'll even use their wings to, stir up the water and push the fish into tighter groups. It just makes their fishing more efficient.
It's fascinating to watch them coordinate their movements and use their bodies to, manipulate the water. They work together like a well-oiled machine.
They do. And that social behavior is just as important when they breed. Great white pelicans form huge colonies, sometimes with thousands of birds nesting together. These colonies can be quite noisy and bustling, but, it provides safety in numbers and it allows the birds to communicate and cooperate more effectively.
It shows just how social they are and how they rely on each other to survive. Now let's learn about a pelican that's a little more solitary than its social cousins, the Dalmatian pelican. These birds live in wetlands, lakes, and rivers across southeastern Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia.
They're often found in smaller groups or even in pairs, which is quite different from the massive colonies formed by some other pelicans.
Yeah, it is. But don't let their solitary nature fool you. Dalmatian pelicans are the largest of all pelican species. Their wingspans can be over 11 feet, and they can weigh up to 33 pounds.
Wow, that's huge. And their feathers are really unique. Those shaggy, silvery gray feathers and curly nape feathers that make them look almost prehistoric.
I know, right? And during breeding season, their throat pouch turns a bright orange-red, adding a splash of color to their otherwise muted appearance.
Wow, so beautiful. I read that Dalmatian pelicans are facing some serious threats to their survival, mainly because of habitat loss and human disturbance. It's a reminder that we need to be aware of the impact our actions have on these incredible birds.
You're absolutely right. Protecting their habitats, reducing pollution, and minimizing human disturbance are crucial to ensuring these amazing birds can continue to exist.
Now, let's travel to sub-Saharan Africa and parts of southern Arabia to meet the pink-backed pelican. This medium-sized pelican gets its name from the soft pink color on its back, which becomes even more noticeable during breeding season.
Right. It's a subtle but beautiful detail that sets them apart from other pelicans. They also have a grayish-white body, a pale yellow bill, and a pouch that turns a deeper yellow or pinkish during breeding season.
These pelicans are known for being adaptable, living in a wide range of shallow vegetated waters, like swamps, lagoons, and estuaries.
Yeah, and they're not picky eaters either, feeding on fish, amphibians, and crustaceans. And like many other pelicans, they often hunt together in small groups to increase their chances of success.
They also have some interesting nesting habits, building big stick nests in trees near water. They'll often nest in loose colonies, sharing nesting sites with other bird species.
Yeah, it's a testament to their ability to coexist with other creatures and adapt to various environments.
Now, let's head over to southern Asia to meet the spot-billed pelican. This pelican gets its name from the dark spots on its upper bill.
That's right. They also have a mostly white body with black primary and secondary flight feathers on their wings, kind of similar to the American white pelican. And they have a pale yellow pouch that turns a deeper orange or pinkish during the breeding season.
Okay, got it. Spot-billed pelicans are very social birds, forming large colonies, sometimes with hundreds of individuals, in freshwater and brackish wetlands.
Yeah, they often build their nests high up in trees near water, creating this bustling pelican community within the forest canopy.
These pelicans are known for their opportunistic feeding habits, using their sharp eyesight and agility to catch fish, crustaceans, and other aquatic prey.
Yeah, they're quite adaptable, but their dependence on wetlands makes them vulnerable to habitat loss and pollution.
That's a good point. It's a reminder that we need to protect these vital ecosystems to make sure these incredible birds can survive. Now let's travel down under to meet the Australian pelican, a truly remarkable species found in Australia, New Guinea, and the surrounding islands.
Yeah, these pelicans have the largest bill of any bird. It can be up to 20 inches long, and it's incredibly efficient at catching fish and draining water from their prey.
Seriously, that's incredible.
It is. That bill is a marvel of evolution. It's perfectly designed for their feeding habits. It allows them to catch all sorts of fish.
Australian pelicans have a striking black and white pattern on their feathers, with a pale pink bill that turns a deeper pink during breeding season.
That's right. And they're known for their nomadic behavior, traveling long distances in search of food and water.
They often show up in areas after heavy rainfall or flooding, taking advantage of the increased water levels and the abundance of fish.
Exactly.
Now let's go back to South America, specifically the coasts of Peru and Chile, to meet the Peruvian pelican. This pelican is a close relative of the brown pelican, but it's much bigger and has some unique features. They have a dark gray body, a white streaked neck, and a vibrant red and yellow throat pouch that really stands out.
Yeah, it does. And they're incredibly strong birds with wingspans of over 10 feet and weights of up to 15 pounds.
Wow. Peruvian pelicans are highly adapted to the nutrient-rich waters of the Humboldt Current, where they mostly eat anchovies.
That's right. They often gather in large flocks, soaring along the coastline or resting on rocky shores.
These pelicans are quite abundant, but they face threats from overfishing and environmental changes that can, impact the availability of their food.
Right. It's a reminder that even species with large populations can be vulnerable to human activities and the impacts of climate change.
That's a good point. So we've explored 8 amazing pelican species from all over the world, each with its own special characteristics, adaptations, and role in the ecosystem.
Yeah, it's really incredible to see how diverse this group of birds is and how they've evolved to thrive in so many different environments.
But it's also important to remember that pelicans, just like many other birds, face challenges to their survival.
Yeah. Habitat loss, pollution, and climate change are all putting pressure on pelican populations. And, it's our responsibility to take action to protect these incredible creatures.
So what can we do to help? The articles mention things like supporting conservation organizations, using less plastic, and advocating for policies that protect coastal and wetland habitats.
Yeah, those are all fantastic steps. And, we can also just learn more about pelicans and the threats they face, and then share what we know with others, inspiring them to take action too.
Every little bit helps. Remember, protecting pelicans isn't just about saving one species. It's about protecting the health of our oceans and making sure we have a healthy future for all of us.
Well said. Now, let's take a closer look at pelican communication. These birds are very social creatures, and they've developed some amazing ways to talk to each other.
So they're not exactly known for, like, singing. How do they get their messages across?
Well, while they might not be songbirds, they actually have a surprisingly complex vocabulary of sounds. They'll use grunts, croaks, whistles, and even bill clapping to communicate with each other.
Really? The research mentioned they even have specific calls for different situations, like warning each other about danger, attracting a mate, or even begging for food.
Exactly. Their calls can convey a lot of information, and they're super effective at communicating within their colonies, which, as we know, can sometimes have thousands of birds.
Wow, it's incredible to think about how much information they're sharing with those, what seem like, simple sounds.
Yeah, and it's not just about the sounds themselves. The situation in which those calls are made, the body language of the birds, even the timing of the calls, it all plays a part in how the messages are understood.
Oh, I get it. So it's like a complex language with its own set of rules and meanings.
Exactly. And like any language, it takes time and practice to learn how to communicate effectively. Young pelicans learn their calls from their parents and other pelicans in their colony.
I read that pelican chicks actually start practicing their calls as soon as they hatch, even before they can see properly.
Yeah, it's amazing. They're already learning how to communicate with their own kind, preparing for a life of social interaction.
That's so cool. But pelicans aren't just vocal communicators, are they? They also use visual cues to send messages.
Absolutely. Their body language is just as important as their sounds. They'll use postures, head movements, even the way they hold their wings to talk to each other.
Yeah. One of the articles described how pelicans puff up their chests and shake their heads to show dominance or ward off rivals.
Exactly. It's all about visual signaling, which is especially important during breeding season when, competition for mates and nesting sites can be pretty intense.
They even use their pouches to communicate, don't they? I've seen them do this thing where they stretch out their pouch and kind of vibrate it. What's that all about?
That's a fascinating behavior. So, pelicans will often stretch out their pouches and vibrate them as a way to regulate their body temperature. It helps, especially in hot climates.
Oh, so it's like their own built-in air conditioning.
Exactly. But it can also be a signal to other birds. For example, a pelican might stretch out its pouch and vibrate it to, show off its size and strength to potential rivals.
It's like they're saying, hey, look at me, I'm big and strong.
You got it. And just like their vocalizations, the situation and body language that go along with these pouch displays all contribute to the message being sent.
So it's all about understanding those subtle cues and the nuances of pelican body language.
Yeah. The more we study how pelicans communicate, the more we realize how complex and sophisticated their interactions really are.
That's incredible. It's a reminder that intelligence and social complexity aren't just for humans and other, primates. We can find these traits throughout the animal kingdom, even in birds that might seem um, simple at first glance.
Absolutely. It highlights the incredible diversity of life and the amazing ways animals have evolved to communicate and interact with each other.
Well said. Now, before we move on, I want to, take a moment to appreciate the role pelicans play in our ecosystems. Pelicans are way more than just like cool-looking birds with big pouches. They're vital members of their food webs, and whether they're present or not can have a big impact on how healthy their environments are.
That's right. Pelicans are what we call apex predators. So that means they sit at the top of their food chains. They have a really critical role in regulating fish populations, and their feeding habits can actually influence the abundance and distribution of other species within their ecosystems.
Yeah. One of the articles talked about how pelicans help to control populations of smaller fish, preventing them from becoming too numerous and, messing up the balance of the ecosystem.
Exactly. Their presence helps to keep a good mix of species, makes sure the ecosystem stays stable.
Right. But pelicans also play a part in nutrient cycling, right?
Absolutely. Pelicans eat a lot of fish, and their waste products, which we call guano, are rich in nutrients. And those nutrients can actually fertilize plants and support, entire ecosystems.
So they're not just taking nutrients out of the ecosystem, they're putting them back in.
Exactly. Their movements between water and land help to transfer nutrients and energy. That contributes to the overall health and productivity of their habitats.
And they even help with seed dispersal, don't they? I read that pelican feathers can, like, pick up seeds from plants, and they might even eat seeds along with their prey, later dispersing them through their droppings.
That's true. Pelicans, like many other birds, contribute to the spread of plants and help, maintain biodiversity within their habitats.
But unfortunately, pelican populations are facing all those threats from, habitat loss and pollution and climate change. What happens to the ecosystem when pelican numbers decline?
Well, impacts can be, pretty serious. Fewer pelicans can lead to an increase in the populations of fish they prey on, which could upset the balance of the food web.
Right.
And it can affect nutrient cycling, too. With fewer pelicans around to deposit guano, the nutrient levels in, certain habitats can decline.
Yeah.
And that can affect plant growth and the overall productivity of the ecosystem.
So it's a reminder that losing one species, even one that seems, common like the pelican, can have this ripple effect throughout the entire ecosystem.
It does. It shows just how important it is to protect pelicans and their habitats, not just for their own sake, but for the health and well-being of the entire ecosystem.
It's all about understanding how everything is connected and realizing that every species, no matter how big or small, plays a part in keeping nature in balance.
Well said.
Mm.
Now, before we move on to the next chapter of our pelican adventure, I want to bring up something that might surprise some people. Pelicans can get sick and injured, just like any other, animal.
Of course.
And sadly, a lot of the injuries and illnesses they face happen because of things we humans do.
Yeah, the articles mention things like collisions with boats, getting tangled in fishing lines,
Mm.
eating plastic trash, and exposure to oil spills.
Mm.
It's heartbreaking to think about these beautiful creatures suffering because of our actions.
It is. It's a reminder that we need to be more mindful of, our impact on the environment and take steps to minimize the risks to pelicans and other wildlife.
But, the good news is that there are amazing people and organizations out there that are um, working hard to rescue and rehabilitate injured pelicans.
Yes, there are. These rehab centers provide critical care to pelicans that have been, hurt or gotten sick.
Yeah.
They treat all sorts of problems from broken wings to oil contamination.
Yeah, I read that they have special facilities for cleaning oiled pelicans, which is a really tough process. It requires a lot of patience and expertise.
It does. It's a really delicate operation, and, it can take weeks or even months to fully rehabilitate an oiled pelican.
But it's worth every bit of effort. These rehab centers give injured pelicans a second chance at life, and they help to maintain healthy populations of these incredible birds.
Yeah, and their work goes beyond just, treating individual pelicans. They also play a really crucial role in educating the public about the threats facing pelicans and inspiring people to take action to protect them.
It's all about raising awareness and making people um, feel responsible for the well-being of these incredible creatures.
Right. And it's a reminder that even in a world facing so many environmental challenges, there's still hope for pelicans and other wildlife if we all work together to protect them.
Well said. Now let's talk about something that often causes debate and controversy. The, the relationship between pelicans and the fishing industry.
Yeah.
So pelicans, because they eat fish, can sometimes be seen as competition by, fishermen who are after the same resources.
Yeah, that's true. Pelicans are often found near fishing boats, hoping to grab any discarded fish or scraps. And sometimes they might even try to steal fish directly from fishing nets,
Right.
which can be frustrating for fishermen.
The articles mention that pelicans being around can sometimes lead to fewer fish being caught, especially when there are a lot of pelicans or they're being aggressive.
Yeah. And it can lead to conflicts between, pelicans and fishermen, with some resorting to harmful measures to scare the birds away.
It's a tricky situation, and there's no, easy answer. But it's important to remember that both pelicans and fishermen are part of the same ecosystem, and they both rely on healthy fish populations for their livelihoods.
Exactly. We need to find ways to, coexist peacefully and sustainably, making sure that both pelicans and the fishing industry can thrive.
Yeah. Some of the articles talked about the potential for pelicans and fishermen to actually work together. For example, pelicans are really good at finding schools of fish, so maybe their presence could be used to guide fishermen to more productive fishing grounds.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. In some places, fishermen already use, birds like seagulls to help them find fish. Maybe we can figure out ways to use the pelicans' knowledge of the ocean to benefit, both the birds and the fishing industry.
Yeah, it would take a change in how we think about things.
Oh.
And a willingness to, see pelicans not as competition, but as potential partners.
Right. And it would require, careful planning and management to make sure that any collaborative efforts are sustainable and don't harm pelican populations or the overall health of the, ecosystem.
It's definitely worth exploring. Finding ways to coexist peacefully with wildlife is crucial for a sustainable future.
It is. It's all about recognizing that, we're part of a bigger web of life and figuring out how to live in harmony with the natural world.
Well said.
Yeah.
Now let's switch gears and talk about something a little more lighthearted. Pelicans in cities.
It might seem strange to think about these, coastal birds living in cities, but as cities grow, pelicans are getting better at adapting to life in areas dominated by humans.
Yeah. They're often seen hanging out on piers and docks or even rooftops in, coastal cities.
Mhm.
They're taking advantage of the food and nesting spots they can find there.
That's right. Sometimes they even become regulars at fish markets or restaurants, hoping to snatch a tasty treat.
It just goes to show that nature can pop up in the most unexpected places,
Yeah,
even in the middle of busy cities.
it can. But it also raises concerns about, potential issues between pelicans and people. For
Yeah.
example, pelicans might become aggressive when they're trying to find food, or they might cause damage to property.
The articles mention that feeding pelicans, even though it might seem, harmless, can actually create more problems in the long run.
It's true, feeding pelicans can make them, rely on humans for food instead of finding it themselves, and it can also lead to health problems.
Yeah. It's important to admire these birds from a distance and let them thrive in their natural habitats without interfering.
Absolutely. And it's a reminder that we need to, design our cities in a way that makes space for wildlife and minimizes conflicts between humans and animals.
Now let's move.
It is, and it means we need to be ready to, adjust our conservation plans as things change.
It's a call to action for everyone, right?
Yeah.
We need to support research, advocate for policies that tackle climate change, and just reduce our own impact on the environment.
You got it. Every action we take, no matter how small, can make a difference in the lives of pelicans and, countless other species. Their future is connected to our own.
So true. Well said. And on that note, let's talk about something that makes pelicans so fascinating. Their feeding habits.
Okay.
These birds are experts at catching fish. They've evolved some pretty incredible strategies for finding and catching their prey.
Oh, for sure. Their bills and those pouches are perfectly designed for that, fish-eating lifestyle.
Right. That pouch is like a giant fishing net. They can scoop up a ton of water and fish and then just drain the water out before swallowing their catch.
It's amazing, isn't it? A remarkably efficient system. It lets them eat a huge variety of fish.
Exactly. But not all pelicans fish the same way.
Right.
Some species, like the brown pelican, are plunge divers. So they'll soar high above the water and then just dive headfirst to grab fish from below the surface.
Yeah, it's incredible to see. They're like feathered torpedoes, hitting the water with so much force and so precise.
I know. Other species, like the American white pelican and the great white pelican, they're more likely to use cooperative fishing strategies.
Exactly. They'll often form these big groups, work together to herd fish into shallow water. Makes them much easier to catch.
Yeah.
And they even use their wings, right, to make a wall that traps the fish.
Yeah. It's such a good example of how intelligent and socially complex they are.
It is.
And it just highlights the benefits of teamwork, even in the animal kingdom.
Yeah, for sure.
But pelicans don't just rely on fish, do they?
Not always.
They're opportunistic eaters.
Ah.
So they'll take advantage of other food sources when they can.
Right. They've been known to eat amphibians, crustaceans, even small birds or reptiles.
One of the articles mentioned a behavior called kleptoparasitism. You heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
It's when pelicans actually steal food from other birds.
It might seem a little sneaky, but it's a survival tactic, right? Especially when food is scarce.
Exactly. It goes to show that pelicans, just like all creatures, are doing what they need to do to survive.
Absolutely.
And their feeding habits, they have a big impact on the ecosystems they live in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? They're helping to control fish populations, moving nutrients between water and land, and they're even influencing the behavior of other species.
Exactly.
Truly fascinating creatures. And, their feeding behaviors just give us a glimpse into that complex web of life that connects all living things.
It does. It does.
Now let's go back in time a bit. Let's explore pelican evolution. These birds have a long and fascinating history, going back millions of years. Their evolutionary journey is, a testament to their adaptability and resilience, showing how they've thrived through countless environmental changes.
It really is amazing.
It's amazing to imagine these ancient birds soaring over prehistoric landscapes.
Yeah.
What have we learned from fossils about their past?
Well, fossils tell us that pelicans have been around for at least 30 million years.
Wow.
I mean, that means they were sharing the skies with dinosaurs.
That's incredible.
And these early pelicans, they had a lot of the same features we see in modern pelicans, the large bills, the throat pouches, the webbed feet. So that tells us that their basic body plan was already working really well for that, aquatic lifestyle.
So they found a winning formula pretty early on. But, they haven't stayed exactly the same over millions of years.
Right. No, of course not. As environments changed, so did pelicans. We found fossils of extinct pelican species, some with different beak shapes and sizes, which is really interesting. It shows us that they adapted to different habitats and different food sources over time.
Yeah.
And those extinct species, they give us clues about how pelicans evolved and, how they spread across the globe.
It's like putting together this giant puzzle using fossils to kind of reconstruct the history of these remarkable
It
birds.
is. It is.
What are some of the key adaptations, do you think, that have helped pelicans survive for so long?
Well, I think that expandable throat pouch has got to be one of the most important. I mean, it's a feature that makes them totally unique among water birds. And it evolved as a tool for catching and storing fish, letting them scoop up, large amounts of prey all at once.
It's like having a built-in fishing net.
Exactly. And over time, they also developed these lightweight, air-filled bones, made them more buoyant in water, more efficient flyers, and then those long, broad wings, perfect for soaring. Helps them save energy, right, while they're searching for food over these vast distances.
It's amazing how natural selection has shaped their bodies over millions of years to become like the expert flyers and fish catchers we see today.
It really is.
And their ability to, spread across the globe is just as impressive.
It is.
Scientists believe that pelicans probably originated in like warm coastal areas
Yeah.
where food was plentiful.
Yeah.
But as the continent shifted and the climate changed, pelicans expanded their range, adapted to new environments, and evolved into those 8 species we know today.
Exactly. They're found on every continent except Antarctica. And they live in so many different habitats, from tropical estuaries to inland lakes. Truly adaptable and resilient.
They are. And by comparing, the anatomy of modern pelicans to their ancestors, we can see how they've kind of gradually changed, right?
Right.
Like fossilized skulls show changes in the structure of their beaks and jaw muscles, which, improve their ability to catch that slippery prey.
Yeah, good point.
And their skeletons show this gradual shift towards more aerodynamically efficient wings, making them those skilled long-distance travelers we see today.
Exactly. It's like looking back in time and seeing how each adaptation has played a role in their, survival and success.
It is. But their evolution isn't over, right?
No, definitely not.
As humans continue to change the planet and the climate warms, pelicans are facing all these new challenges. Will they be able to adapt to new geographic ranges as temperatures rise? Will they need to change their behavior or their physiology to survive? How will shifts in fish populations affect how they feed? Could this lead to, new traits?
All really important questions. It is fascinating to think about, a little bit scary to think about how these birds will continue to evolve in this, rapidly changing world. It is. But their resilience and adaptability over millions of years, it gives us hope that they'll find ways to persist. It's up to us to minimize our impact and preserve the habitats they need to thrive.
Well said.
Yeah.
Their evolutionary success stories really show us that pelicans aren't, static creatures.
Yeah.
They're dynamic and constantly evolving, shaped by the forces of nature and increasingly by human actions.
Yeah.
By understanding their past, we can better appreciate their present and work towards a future where these magnificent birds continue to, grace our skies and waters.
Absolutely.
But now let's shift our focus a little bit to the threats and challenges that pelicans face in a world that's, increasingly dominated by human activities.
Yeah.
While these birds have proven to be, incredibly adaptable, the pace and scale of environmental change are posing some pretty unprecedented challenges to their survival.
That's right. Despite their resilience, pelicans are facing a multitude of threats, and many of them, unfortunately, stem from human actions. And one of the most significant challenges is habitat loss and degradation. Coastal development, urbanization, and just the conversion of wetlands for, agriculture or other uses have significantly reduced the amount of suitable habitat for pelicans to breed, feed, and rest.
It's like we're shrinking their living spaces, making it so much harder for them to, find the things they need to survive.
Exactly. And as their habitats shrink, they're forced into closer contact with humans.
Right.
Which increases the potential for conflict. This can lead to disturbances at nesting colonies, entanglement in fishing gear, and even, deliberate harm from those who view them as competitors for fish.
The articles mention that pollution is another major concern.
It is.
Chemical runoff from farms and industry, it can contaminate the waters where pelicans feed, and that leads to, poisoning or other health problems. And then there's plastic pollution, which is a growing threat because pelicans often mistake plastic debris for food. They're ingesting it, and that can cause internal injuries, or even starvation.
It's a really heartbreaking situation. And, these pollutants, they don't just directly harm pelicans, but they disrupt the balance of their ecosystems, impacting their food supply and degrading the overall health of their habitats.
Right. And then on top of all of that, there's climate change. This global challenge with like far-reaching consequences for pelicans and so many other species. Rising sea levels are threatening to flood coastal nesting sites, while changes in water temperatures and currents are impacting fish populations. It's making it harder for pelicans to, find food.
It's a complex and interconnected, web of threats,
Yeah.
and it demands a multifaceted approach to conservation. We have to protect the habitats pelicans have left, restore damaged areas, reduce pollution, and, tackle climate change, just to ensure these magnificent birds have a fighting chance.
So what are some specific things that people and, communities can do to help?
Well, I think reducing our own environmental footprint is a great place to start. We can all contribute to, creating a safer and healthier world for pelicans by just minimizing our use of single-use plastics, supporting sustainable fishing practices, and advocating for policies that, protect wetlands and coastal ecosystems.
Right.
Even participating in citizen science initiatives like bird counts or beach cleanups can provide valuable data to inform conservation efforts.
It's empowering to know that, even small actions can collectively have a positive impact.
They can. By raising awareness about, the challenges pelicans face and inspiring others to take action, we can create this ripple effect of positive change.
I love that.
And remember, the fate of pelicans is intertwined with, our own.
Right.
By protecting these remarkable birds and the ecosystems they depend on, we're ultimately safeguarding the health of our planet in future generations.
Well said. Now, let's turn our attention to the incredible world of pelican rescue and rehabilitation efforts. These dedicated initiatives play a vital role in, mitigating the human-caused threats facing these magnificent birds. It's heartwarming to know that there are people out there who are so passionate about helping injured and distressed pelicans. Can you tell us more about, the work these rehabilitation centers do?
I can. So pelican rescue and rehabilitation centers are often located in, coastal regions where pelicans are most commonly found. And these centers provide a safe haven for birds that have been injured, sick, or even orphaned, offering them expert care and a chance to recover.
Yeah. The articles mentioned that they treat a wide range of injuries from, broken wings and fishing line entanglement to oil contamination and ingestion of plastic debris. It's amazing to think that these dedicated individuals can help pelicans overcome such adversity.
It's truly remarkable work. The rehabilitation process usually starts with a thorough assessment of the pelican's, condition. And depending on how serious the injury or illness is, treatments might include surgery, medication, wound care, or even specialized therapies.
Yeah, I read that cleaning oiled pelicans is like a particularly challenging and time-consuming process.
It is.
It requires specialized equipment and just a lot of patience.
It does. It's a delicate and labor-intensive procedure, but it's crucial for removing that toxic oil from their feathers and skin. It allows them to, regain their natural waterproofing and their ability to fly.
Of course. And it's not just about, physical healing, right? These centers also focus on helping pelicans regain their natural instincts and behaviors before they're released back into the wild.
Exactly. Rehabilitation often involves providing opportunities for pelicans to, practice their hunting skills, socialize with other pelicans, and just get used to their natural surroundings again.
Like a pelican boot camp, preparing them for a successful return to their wild lives.
You could say that.
What happens once they're ready to be, released?
Well, the release process is carefully planned to ensure the pelican's safety and well-being. They're often released in areas with, plenty of food and minimal human disturbance. Gives them the best chance of survival.
Makes sense. And sometimes they even, track the released pelicans using GPS devices, right?
They do, yeah. They're monitoring their movements and, making sure they're adapting well to their new environment. It really shows the dedication of these rehabilitation centers, going above and beyond to give these pelicans a second chance at life.
It's heartwarming. But these rehabilitation efforts, they rely on the support of, the public. What can people do to help these centers continue their vital work?
Well, spreading awareness about their work is so important. Sharing information about these centers and, the challenges facing pelicans can educate others and inspire them to get involved. And donations are always welcome as these centers rely on public support to, fund their operations, buy supplies, care for the
And people
pelicans.
can volunteer their time too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Many rehabilitation centers depend on volunteers to help with tasks like, cleaning enclosures, preparing food, assisting with animal care.
Yeah. It's a great way to get some hands-on experience, learn about pelican conservation, and make a real difference in the lives of these incredible birds.
It is, and it's a reminder that even, small actions can have a big impact when it comes to wildlife conservation.
Right.
Every contribution, whether it's through, raising awareness, donating, or volunteering, helps to ensure that these vital rehabilitation efforts can continue.
It's inspiring to see the dedication and compassion of the people working to give injured pelicans a second chance. Their efforts don't just save, individual birds, but also contribute to the health and resilience of pelican populations and the ecosystems they're part of. But beyond rescue and rehabilitation, there are those larger conservation initiatives focused on protecting pelican populations and the habitats they rely on.
That's right. Conservation efforts are essential to address, the root causes of the threats facing pelicans.
Yeah.
Things like habitat loss, pollution, climate change.
Yeah.
And these efforts often involve a multifaceted approach, things like research, education, policy advocacy, and, on-the-ground conservation actions.
Right. It's like a complex puzzle, right?
It is.
Requiring collaboration among scientists, conservationists, policymakers, and, local communities.
Mhm.
It's all about finding solutions that work for both pelicans and people. Can you tell us more about some of the specific conservation strategies being used?
Of course. So one crucial aspect is habitat protection and restoration, establishing protected areas like wildlife refuges and marine sanctuaries. That helps to safeguard those critical, breeding and feeding grounds for pelicans.
Right. It's like creating safe havens where they can thrive without human interference.
Exactly. And restoration efforts focus on revitalizing those degraded habitats like wetlands and coastal ecosystems. So that involves removing invasive species, planting native vegetation, and, improving water quality.
So it's about giving pelicans back the spaces they need to survive and thrive.
Exactly. Another key strategy is reducing pollution. And this involves, implementing stricter regulations on industrial discharges, promoting sustainable agricultural practices to minimize chemical runoff, and, just raising awareness about the impacts of plastic pollution on marine life.
So it's about cleaning up the environments that pelicans depend on,
Mm.
ensuring they have access to clean water and healthy food sources.
Exactly. And then addressing climate change is, absolutely crucial. Supporting policies that reduce greenhouse gas emissions, promoting renewable energy sources, and advocating for sustainable coastal development. These are all essential steps in mitigating the long-term impacts of climate change on pelican populations and, their habitats.
So it's about taking this holistic approach to conservation,
It is.
recognizing that the health of pelicans is intrinsically linked to the health of our planet.
Precisely. And it's not just about pelicans, right? By protecting these birds and the ecosystems they inhabit, we're also safeguarding a wealth of other species, things like fish, invertebrates, plants, other birds. It's all interconnected in this delicate web of life.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that conservation is about more than just saving one species. It's about preserving biodiversity, maintaining healthy ecosystems, and ensuring a sustainable future for all living things.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that we all have a role to play, whether it's making, conscious choices in our daily lives, supporting conservation organizations, or advocating for policy changes. Our actions, however small, can collectively make a difference.
It's about finding those little things we can do in our own lives that, add up to a larger impact. What are some specific examples of how people can get involved in pelican conservation?
Well, reducing our plastic consumption is a great place to start. By using reusable bags, bottles, and containers, we can help to minimize the amount of plastic waste that ends up in our oceans, harming pelicans and, other marine life.
It's about making those conscious choices that can have this ripple effect.
It is. And supporting sustainable seafood choices is another important step. By choosing seafood that's been caught or, farmed responsibly, we can help to protect fish populations and minimize the impacts of fishing on pelican habitats.
So it's about being informed consumers, and making choices that align with our values.
Exactly. And we can all advocate for policies that protect pelicans and their habitats. This might involve contacting our elected officials, supporting conservation organizations that are working to protect coastal and wetland ecosystems, or simply spreading awareness about the importance of pelican conservation among our friends and family.
Right. It's about using our voices and our actions to create, positive change.
It is.
And it's a reminder that we're not like powerless in the face of environmental challenges. We can all uh, make a difference. But, beyond the practical aspects of conservation, there's also like a cultural and symbolic significance to pelicans that's worth exploring.
You're right. Pelicans have held a special place in human cultures for, centuries, appearing in myths, folklore, art, and literature across um, the globe.
Yeah, their striking appearance, their unique behaviors, and their association with, water.
Uh-huh.
They've made them powerful symbols in many cultures. What are some of the common themes or meanings, do you think, associated with pelicans?
Well, in many cultures, pelicans are seen as symbols of self-sacrifice and parental devotion.
Yeah, I read that there's this medieval legend about pelicans, like piercing their own breasts to feed their young with their blood.
Yeah, it's a powerful image,
Right.
though not biologically accurate. But it really highlights the lengths, to which parents will go to care for their offspring.
And pelicans are also often associated with like generosity and abundance, right?
Right.
Their ability to catch, large quantities of fish has made them symbols of prosperity and good fortune in some cultures.
That's right. And their association with water has linked them to themes of purification, rebirth, and that cyclical nature of life.
Right. In some Native American cultures, pelicans are seen as messengers between the physical and spiritual worlds.
It's fascinating to see how these birds have captured, the imaginations of people across different cultures and time periods.
It does. It really speaks to their enduring appeal and their ability to just evoke a sense of wonder and awe. But beyond their, symbolic meanings, pelicans also play a role in tourism and recreation.
Absolutely. Pelicans are a popular attraction in coastal areas, drawing bird watchers, photographers, and nature enthusiasts from around the world.
Of course. Their unique behaviors, like their synchronized flights and, dramatic fishing techniques, it provides a spectacle that's like both entertaining and educational.
For sure. And their presence just adds to the beauty and biodiversity of coastal landscapes, enhancing that overall tourist experience.
And, pelican watching tours, wildlife photography workshops, educational programs featuring pelicans, these are all contributing to the growth of ecotourism in coastal regions.
Right. It's a great way to connect people with nature, raise awareness about, pelican conservation, and generate economic benefits for local communities.
Absolutely. But it's important to make sure that these tourism activities are done, responsibly and sustainably, minimizing disturbance to pelicans and their habitats.
Oh, definitely. We have to find a balance, between appreciating these birds and protecting their well-being.
It's about responsible tourism, where we put the needs of the pelicans and their ecosystems, first,
Uh-huh.
while still enjoying their presence.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that pelicans are more than just tourist attractions.
Right.
They're vital members of their ecosystems, and, protecting them is essential for the health of our planet.
Right. Their cultural and symbolic significance, combined with their role in tourism and recreation.
Yeah.
It adds another layer to our understanding of these remarkable birds.
It does. It's a reminder that pelicans are more than just, creatures of the wild. They're deeply intertwined with human culture, our economies, and our relationship with the natural world.
And their story inspires us to find ways to coexist, peacefully and sustainably, ensuring that pelicans continue to grace our coastlines and inspire wonder for generations to come. But our exploration of pelicans wouldn't be complete without delving into their fascinating roles in scientific research. These birds have proven to be like valuable subjects for a wide range of studies, providing insights into avian biology, ecology, and even human impacts on the environment.
It's true. Pelicans, with their unique adaptations and behaviors, they offer a wealth of knowledge, and scientists are eager to uncover it. Studying them has contributed significantly to our understanding of bird evolution, migration patterns, feeding ecology, and, the impacts of environmental change.
It's like they're unlocking secrets about like the natural world.
They are.
What are some of the key areas where pelicans have been particularly valuable research subjects?
Well, one area is migration ecology. By attaching tracking devices like GPS tags to pelicans,
Yeah.
researchers can follow their movements across, vast distances. This reveals their migratory routes, their stopover sites, and the timing of their journeys.
So it's like having a pelican travel journal, providing this detailed map of their incredible um, journeys.
Exactly. And this information helps scientists understand, how pelicans navigate, what environmental cues they use, and the challenges they face during migration.
And it helps to like identify crucial habitats that need, protection along those migration routes.
Exactly. Another area of research focuses on pelican feeding ecology.
What?
Scientists study their foraging behaviors, their prey preferences, and their, hunting techniques just to understand their role in the food web and their impact on fish populations.
We talked earlier about like their cooperative fishing strategies and their, impressive plunge diving abilities.
Yeah, it's fascinating to observe how they've evolved such specialized adaptations for catching fish. And by understanding their feeding habits, scientists can gain insights into, the dynamics of aquatic ecosystems and how pelicans help to keep things in balance.
The articles also mention research into pelican social behavior.
Right.
They're very social birds living in large colonies, and they exhibit these complex communication methods.
They do. Their social interactions, from courtship displays to territorial disputes, from cooperative hunting to, parental care, it provides this rich source of data for researchers interested in understanding, animal communication, social structures, and just the evolution of cooperative behaviors.
It's like watching a pelican soap opera, full of drama, intrigue, and, heartwarming moments of cooperation.
I like that, yeah.
But pelicans aren't just, studied for their own sake, are they? They're also used as indicator species for monitoring the health of their ecosystems.
That's right. Because pelicans are at the top of the food chain, their health and well-being are really closely tied to the overall health of their environment. Any changes in pelican populations, breeding success, or behavior, it can signal, broader ecological shifts.
Right. So it's like they're a canary in the coal mine,
Huh.
alerting us to potential problems in the environment.
Exactly. By monitoring pelican populations, scientists can detect, early warning signs of pollution, habitat degradation, or even climate change. And that allows for more timely and effective conservation interventions.
So they're not just, fascinating research subjects. They're also valuable partners in our efforts to, like, understand and protect our planet.
Absolutely. And their contributions to scientific research go beyond, ecology and conservation. Pelicans have also been studied for their physiological adaptations.
Oh, really?
Yeah, things like their ability to regulate body temperature
Oh,
in,
yeah.
extreme environments, and their remarkable bone structure that allows for both flight and buoyancy.
It's amazing how their bodies have evolved to meet the challenges of, their aquatic lifestyle.
It really is.
And studying them can provide insights into broader, biological principles,
Mm-hmm.
potentially even inspiring new technologies or medical advancements.
For sure. It's a reminder that the natural world is a vast and unexplored frontier of, knowledge.
Hmm.
And pelicans, with their unique traits and behaviors, are helping us to unlock its secrets.
Absolutely. And their contributions to science are only growing, right?
They are.
As new technologies like genetic analysis and satellite tracking allow us to study them in greater detail and over wider ranges.
Exactly. It's an exciting time to be studying pelicans. Their future, like that of many species, depends on our ability to understand, the challenges they face and develop effective conservation strategies.
Right.
But research alone isn't enough. We need to engage the public, inspire action, and foster a sense of, responsibility for protecting these incredible birds and the ecosystems they inhabit.
And that's where, educational programs come in.
It is.
Pelicans, with their, like, charismatic presence and fascinating behaviors, they're ideal ambassadors for raising awareness about the importance of conservation.
They are. Educational programs featuring pelicans can take so many forms, from interactive exhibits at zoos and aquariums to, classroom presentations and field trips to pelican habitats.
Right. It's about bringing the pelican story to life and making it relevant to, people of all ages and backgrounds.
Exactly. And by highlighting, the threats pelicans face, things like habitat loss, pollution, and climate change, these programs can inspire people to take action in their own lives, to protect these birds and the environment.
Right. It's about empowering people to become stewards of the planet, recognizing that we all have a role to play in conservation.
Exactly. And it's about fostering a sense of, wonder and appreciation for the natural world, instilling a love of pelicans and other creatures, and hopefully that will translate into lifelong support for conservation efforts.
Yeah. These programs can be especially impactful for younger generations, shaping their values and um, inspiring them to become future conservation leaders.
Absolutely. It's about planting those seeds of, knowledge and compassion that will hopefully grow into a brighter future for pelicans and all of us who share this planet.
What are some of the key messages that these educational programs try to convey?
Well, one important message is the interconnectedness of, all living things.
Yeah.
By highlighting the pelican's role in the food web, their dependence on healthy, you know, ecosystems, these programs can help people understand that our actions have consequences for the environment and the creatures that live in it.
Right. It's about breaking down the barriers between humans and nature, recognizing that we're all part of that same web of life.
Exactly. Another key message is the importance of conservation. By showcasing the threats facing pelicans and the efforts being made to, protect them, these programs can inspire people to support conservation initiatives, make sustainable choices in their own lives, and advocate for policies that protect the environment.
Right. It's about empowering people to be part of the solution.
Exactly. And it's also about fostering a sense of hope. While pelicans face challenges, their resilience and the dedication of those working to, protect them offer a glimmer of optimism. By highlighting conservation success stories and showcasing the positive impacts of human action, these programs can inspire a belief that we can make a difference.
It's about instilling a sense of possibility,
Uh-huh.
empowering people to believe that their actions can contribute to, a brighter future for pelicans and all of us.
Exactly. It is. And it's about creating this ripple effect of, awareness and action,
Hmm.
spreading the message of conservation far and wide.
Yeah. These educational programs, they play a vital role in bridging that gap between, scientific knowledge and public understanding. They translate these complex ecological concepts into, engaging and inspiring narratives. And those connect with people on a personal level.
Absolutely. And by fostering that love of nature and a sense of responsibility for its protection, they're creating this legacy of conservation that will, benefit generations to come.
Hmm. Well said. Now, I know we've talked a lot about, the challenges facing pelicans, but I want to end this section on a more hopeful note. Despite the threats they face, pelicans are incredibly resilient creatures. They've
Mm.
been around for millions of years, and they've adapted to countless environmental changes.
Yeah, that's what's so inspiring about them. They're survivors. And their resilience gives us hope that with, the right conservation efforts, we can ensure they'll be around for a long time to come.
The research highlighted some amazing conservation success stories, like the recovery of the brown pelican after it was almost, wiped out by DDT.
Yeah, that's a testament to the power of human action and the importance of, science-based conservation strategies.
It shows that we can make a difference,
Mhm.
if we work together. And there's so many dedicated individuals and organizations working tirelessly to protect pelicans and their
Mhm.
habitats.
Oh, absolutely. From habitat restoration projects to anti-poaching efforts.
Mm.
From rescue and rehabilitation centers to, educational outreach programs, people are finding creative and innovative ways to help pelicans thrive.
And technology is playing a crucial role, too. The sources mentioned using GPS tracking devices to monitor pelican movements, drones to survey nesting colonies, and even environmental DNA analysis to detect, pelican presence in remote areas.
Yeah, it's incredible how technology is revolutionizing conservation efforts, allowing us to gather more data, track populations more effectively, and just develop more targeted conservation strategies.
It's truly inspiring to see all the efforts being made to protect these, incredible birds.
Hmm.
But the fight is far from over. Climate change is a looming threat, and we're only just beginning to understand its impacts on pelican populations.
That's right. Rising sea levels, changing weather patterns, shifts in fish populations, they're all posing challenges for pelicans, and we need to be prepared to adapt our conservation strategies as those changes, continue to unfold.
It's a call to action for all of us, right?
Mhm.
We need to support research, advocate for policies that address climate change, and, just do our part to reduce our own impact on the environment.
Absolutely. Every action we take, no matter how small, it can contribute to a brighter future for pelicans. And remember, their fate is intertwined with our own. By protecting them, we're ultimately safeguarding the health and well-being of our planet and future generations.
Well said. It's been an amazing journey exploring the world of pelicans. I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too.
I hope everyone listening has too.
I hope so. I've really enjoyed sharing what I know about these incredible birds.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And, I feel so inspired to do more to help protect them.
That's fantastic. And remember, every little bit helps, whether it's, reducing your plastic use, supporting sustainable seafood, or just spreading the word about the importance of pelican conservation, you can make a difference.
Absolutely. Let's all do our part to make sure pelicans continue to soar over our coastlines for, generations to come.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us on Saltwater Stories. We'll be back next time with another amazing adventure exploring the wonders of ocean life.